council meeting. Monday the 29th of June. Attendance, everybody's here. Table of contents is as is, no changes. Welcome to members of the public. Can I just ask everybody to make sure their phones are on silent, please? Acknowledgement of country. We acknowledge and pay our respects to the Tasmanian Aboriginal community as the traditional and original owners and continuing custodians of this land on which we gather today, and acknowledge elders past and present. Declarations of interest. Do we have any councillors with declarations of interest? Councillor Goss?
Yeah, for the budget 15.2, special project assistance,
Yep.
The Trout Expo Committee funding.
Nobody else? We don't need to move anything else, everybody, I think. Okay, confirmation of the minutes of the ordinary council meeting Monday the 18th of May. Can I have a mover in a second? Councillor Adams, Councillor McCullough, all those in favour? Against? Carried. Sorry? Councillor Adams and Councillor McCullough. The date of the next council meeting will be Monday the 20th of July. Motions on notice by a councillor. We have Councillor Adams has put forward a motion around the Cressy swimming pool. We have an officer's recommendation there that council note the notice of motion and B, request officers to undertake a high-level feasibility assessment of enclosing the Cressy swimming pool, including indicative capital and operational costs, key constraints and potential funding opportunities, and report back to council. Councillor Adams, what do you wish to move?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Well, originally pools were.
You're seconding that? Okay, yes.
Okay.
Councillor Adams, it's up to you now.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
You're moving. I just need to know which one you're moving. The officer's recommendation?
Yes, I'll move that.
Yes.
Pool started for people to win gold medals and people training for winning gold medals, basically. But we've moved a long way since then. And in our community, people use them for a whole range of reasons. I've listed that, and most of you would have read the report. Water fitness programs, high value, low impact ways to improve cardiovascular health, build and keep your muscles as you get older are very important. And the medicos are pretty much into this. And of course, mental health and well-being issues can all come into that. I think the main thing is, keeping the room warm that you do, but we've got solar panels and we've got new renewable energy which can be used in this. I think we can lead the way, and by getting a report to kick off for the whole of the state and local government. I've, over the years, tried to save a lot of pools in my other roles as well. I remember Mole Creek was quite a go with a dedicated amount of people that wanted to maintain it, but of course having to meet the cost of lifesavers and people there to do it and to meet the regulations of the state, it was difficult. But the future of pools is not going to be just about as we see them today, with the kids getting up there in the summer and having a good time and getting cool, and all of us getting cool, and all of us doing a bit of work. I remember having a long discussion with Shane Gould, one of our gold medal winners who lives in Tasmania, or did, I don't know. She was doing a master's degree and she was actually dealing with that, and she spent a lot of time, as you can imagine, going up and down pools in her life as a kid, and then onward as an adult to win gold medals. But health is going to play a significant role into the future, and we need to particularly get to the health benefits and the need and how they'll play a role in this. So the age community will be pretty involved, and they're starting to get pretty involved in these discussions. I was at a forum recently where someone had just been overseas and into Europe looking at how pools are utilised there. So I think there'll be a need to, there will be opportunities to get funding, and I think we can do that. But we need to get the age community on side and tell them what the opportunities are, and they will certainly back this into the future, and we'll have an opportunity, I believe, to save our pools, because I don't think if we don't do anything and we don't get on the front foot, do new things, we'll lose them within 10 years.
Councillor Terrett.
Yeah, look, I thank Councillor Adams for bringing this to Council. There is an increasing need for heated pools around the state. At the moment, most of our residents have to go into Launceston or down to Oatlands. There is a need for people for therapeutic reasons, and I also would give the opportunity also to liaise with the Cressy Pool Committee about how they feel towards this and what is the best options available. This doesn't commit the council, it investigates it, and I think it's a good way forward. The council, if funding comes up, we can then put our hand up and say, we've got all ready to go.
Councillor Lambert.
I think this is absolutely worth investigating. I'd like to commend Councillor Adams for bringing this forward on behalf of, I presume, you've been very well lobbied, as I have, over the years regarding our pools. In particular, people wanting to be able to swim at extended different times or get involved in the pool at different times, early swimmers, after hours swimmers and everything in between. So I think over the years it's been absolutely demonstrated there is, I think if, what do they say, if they build it, they will come. I think they absolutely will come. I'm really keen to see what the report brings back. I think we need to be, as a council, open to how we can better utilise our pools and facilities, and this is one option that's been put forward, and I think it's really worth investigating. So I look forward to seeing what the report is when it comes back.
Councillor Andrews.
Yes, I think this is a good idea. It's Councillor Adams is actually just bringing forward that something that's been on the books for council for quite some time. If we go back in time, we've suggested that we should be thinking about roofing both Campbelltown and Cressy. So this is urging us to get on with it, basically, do an investigation, take a deep breath and see how much it's going to cost and work out how we can finance it. So I think it's a good idea.
Councillor Archer.
Look, I support Councillor Adams in his motion, but I also think, as Councillor Andrew just said, the Campbelltown pool also does need looking at. I have a feeling, we're half an hour from Launceston with a major aquatic centre, so I think in regards to Northern Midlands Council having a roof pool, maybe Campbelltown could be a priority. I just think we've got to consider that even though a study might say it's possible, the figures already used as preliminary figures are way under, as I consider, what it would cost. And obviously, yes, we are in Longford Cressy, half an hour from a major regional aquatic centre. So I just think we need to take that into account.
I think maintenance issues will be part of the equation as well. Councillor Brooks, you wish to speak?
It's, excuse the voice, but I think it's a great idea. Been talked about for 15 years since I've been on council. Like primary schools, Longford Primary, Perth Primary, they used to go to Hagley and do their swimming. I'm not sure where they go now because there was no undercover pool. Obviously Cressy use it because it is there, but it's very uncomfortable to use in the middle of winter. We've got Toosey, we've also got Eskley, which hopefully they'd probably utilise it as well. So it is worth investigating, and hopefully it comes back and the figures stack up and we can afford it.
Councillor McCullough.
Yep, I'm supportive of this. I'd probably take it a step further, and given the numbers that have been mentioned around the table in the report here, it might be a case we look at somewhere between Cressy and Longford as a new facility. Might be going a stretch too far, but if this is the way the future is going to be, as Councillor Adams says, it might be that we look at a purpose-built facility for both towns. Longford's never had a pool for probably 30 or 40 years, so it might be something to look at in that report.
Councillor Goss, did you wish to speak?
Yeah, just speak quickly. I've been on the Cressy Pool Committee since I was about 17, so a long time. My father and Tom Boone, they raised the first dollar to pay for the pool, so which was, it's pretty strong in my family, I suppose, and we're all swimmers, and the Cressy kids of the town, the kids of the town are good swimmers as well. So, I think it's really important for the community. I think there are opportunities. We've had discussions here at the table about multi-billion-dollar solar farms being built out the road, only 7 or 18 kilometres away. We might better get some kind of corporate sponsor there for heating the pools, that type of stuff. I think there are other opportunities in the community for Cressy. Those places will be looking at some type of community sponsorship, and I really do think that's something that possibly could go. It might help council and the community and to save costs in the future if those things eventuate. The township of Cressy, the school is full and they're still coming in, and they've got a job to get them in, not enough rooms, and the town's full. There's no spare houses. There's no spare houses on the farms. The community is very, very buoyant at the moment, and something like this would also support the community up there, I think so, and the wider community as well. Thank you.
Councillor Adams, do you wish to sum up?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Since the Royal Commission into Aged Care, there's a lot of work going on, people staying at home, and a lot of other funding which is assisting people, which causes a few problems for our nursing homes because people are at a higher stage of need when they come to it. But there is a great deal of work going into, and having the workforce to help people stay in their homes is a big challenge for Australia. And there's a lot of work happening, a lot of training, and bringing people forward. There's rehabilitation issues as well, which I've talked to doctors about. Hips are constantly being done, and swimming is one of the best things to do prior to a hip operation or a knee operation, and it's one of the great things to do to get people rehabilitated as well as the swimming. I remember at Cressy one summer talking to somebody that I knew briefly a long time ago, where he'd had 2 knees done together, and he was there with his bob in his hand. He said he didn't think he'd ever do it again, but he found that the pool was the only thing that gave him some opportunity of getting started again. So enormous amounts of activity, and that activity could take place around a covered pool, which would be a whole year round operation, and I think is it 3 months at the year at the moment. I used to swim in Brumbies Creek in October, but I don't know if there's the resilience in the population as there was a long time ago.
I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Motion's carried. The next notice of motion from Councillor Terrett is about police in Campbelltown. The officer's recommendation is that A, we write to the Minister for Police, Fire and Emergency Management, advocating for an increased police presence in Campbelltown, including consideration of a permanent police presence, and outlining concerns raised by the community. And B, invite representatives from Tas Police to attend a future council workshop to discuss policing policy, policing services, resourcing and strategies to address crime within the Northern Midlands. Councillor Terrett, do you wish to move that motion, or you have your own?
Moved by the officers.
Thank you. To have a second, Councillor Andrews. Councillor Terrett.
Yes, I bring this to council. Whilst policing is not a council matter, public safety is, and for the council, the increase in crime in Campbelltown has been quite substantial. In fact, as the report goes on, 170% increase in stealing offences in Campbelltown. This on top of people being physically attacked and damage done to a whole host of things down in Campbelltown. Public safety is becoming a real issue in this town. The permanent officer who's at Campbelltown is ceasing at the end of this year, and I think there needs to be some assurances from the police minister that police presence will continue there. because of the change of the police districts, many of the police resources have been pushed even thinner, with many police being on the road rather than out doing crime. And unfortunately for areas like Campbelltown and other areas surrounding Campbelltown, that may mean that the police don't come down to Campbelltown in 5 or 10 minutes. It could be 1 or 2 hours. And given the increasing amount of crime in the area they have to cover, it means that people are often reluctant to report crime. By at least getting the assurances of the government, we're at least highlighting the fact that we need to keep that police presence for our communities in this area. And I put this motion up to council to give the police, send a message clearly to the police minister that this is something that's important and something he should be considering. We don't want to see Campbelltown turned into an area of crime, and nipping it in the bud early is certainly an important part. I'm doing my part trying to get a neighbourhood watch up and running in Campbelltown, and I hope that that does get off the ground so people start reporting crimes and the statistics come in. So I put this up to council and I seek your support.
Councillor Andrews.
Yes, I support this because I know from talking to people at Campbelltown through District Committee that there's huge concerns about the increasing crime at Campbelltown, petty crime, young people, and they don't have a continual police presence. I think while, as Councillor Terrett said, it's not council's job to get increased numbers of police anywhere, by advocating for our community, by supporting them in their attempt to get a permanent police presence at Campbelltown, it might actually help the police in their argument to government that they need more numbers. Because if you talk to the police themselves, they would love to have police in every town on a permanent basis, but they just haven't got the numbers, and they're being told that there's not enough funding to improve those numbers. So I think this might help their argument as well. So it's a good thing to do.
Any further discussion, Councillor Goss?
Just a bit of clarifying information. The 68 reported cases that's in the report here, are they stealing from properties, or are they stealing from shops, or we have some kind of...
No, it's mainly properties and just from shops. Shoplifting has become a huge problem in Campbelltown, and it's also from properties. There's been break-ins and burglaries as well, and it is a combination of all those.
The only reason that it looks like that, the report looks like that it's really, really bad, 170 cases, an increase of 170%. But if we're talking about things that are happening inside shops and people are stealing a packet of chips, that's different from breaking into someone's property. So it'd be good to have some more clarification about whether they actually are stealing from inside businesses, or whether they're stealing from inside, breaking into properties after that and that type of stuff. Because I would say that the previous year figures, 25 incidents per year, might be the, breaking into properties, whereas I'm not sure what the other 68 are.
If we have a police presence at a workshop,
Yeah.
they'll provide the answers to that. Somebody who hasn't spoken, Councillor Archer.
Yes, I think the idea of having permanent police presence is probably past. I know Longford's got a new operation up there, but I don't think there's anyone necessarily living in Longford at all. So it's perceived presence. I think that's the thing, and the time frames to obviously police to get to actions. I'd obviously in this motion support B, which is getting the police here to report on it, because obviously we have a vandalism problem in our municipality. It's not just at Campbelltown. And the distribution of police assets is obviously something that we need to push for. As someone said today, it's not just chasing road problems. There are burglaries and other things happening. So I'd just support a workshop with the police.
Councillor Adams.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, in the old days, interesting term, there was police in every town. The police that changed over to task forces and to robbery squads and drug squads and a whole range of things. And the old police stations that we know changed. The local knowledge that that local policeman had was enormous, but it wasn't always the locals that were doing the bad things. It was people coming through, and life had got a bit more sophisticated. If we can, and it's terrible for shopkeepers and people to lose money and goods through people constantly doing this to them. I guess it's to get government to change policy or look in another way. I think the recommendation is that we talk to, we get the commander to come along. That'd be a great idea, and we can talk about our own vandalism and difficulties that we're having as a council.
Any further discussion? Councillor McCullough.
Yeah, I support both A and B. I think we've got to put pressure from the top down and then get the local police representatives around here to discuss it. No one likes being taken advantage of or having their privileges or freedoms inhibited on, and I think that we need to crack down on it as best we can as a council by showing some leadership and getting the police here to talk about it.
Councillor Brooks.
Yeah, I think the same thing happened in Deloraine not that long ago when Longford, they moved the station up to Longford, and there was no police presence in Deloraine, but the Meander Valley Council lobbied the government, and I think there's now a police presence in Deloraine. So it can be done.
Somebody who hasn't spoken is only Councillor Lambert.
Well, I support the motion,
Yes. Councillor Terry, do you
for
wish
all
to
the
sum up?
reasons listed.
Excuse me, is it too late to ask for an amendment to that motion?
No, ask for amendment.
Seeing if the person who moved the motion would agree to it, if we go with the motion as it is, but in B, invite representatives from the Tasmania Police as a matter of urgency to attend the next council workshop. The reason I'm making those suggested amendments is that I know, as Councillor Terrett does, because we were both in the local committee meeting at Campbelltown when the police came to talk to the town in response to the dramatically rising crime rate in Campbelltown and the concern of the town at the dramatically increased crime rate in the last 6 months in Campbelltown, or 12 months. So, you know, yes, talk to the police and they'll tell you what we already know, but I think that needs to happen as a matter of urgency.
I'm happy to accept that.
So the mover and the seconder, you're the seconder anyway, Councillor. You're happy with that? Okay. If you're happy with it, then it's not an amendment, it just goes into the motion. And if Councillor Lambert's happy, I'll move on for you to sum up.
Just something that because of my concern, I've been in contact with the Minister's office, and he's keen to come and meet with shop owners down there, and has given an assurance that he will come down in July as well. So once that's been said, I'll let councillors know when that is will be coming down.
Can I make that the next available council workshop, because I think the next workshop's on the 6th of July and we've already got a couple of presenters, so.
They're happy with that? Next available workshop. Yep. All right, I will put that recommendation. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes. I don't need to move it or anything, do I? Just
No, we'll just defer that one.
defer that one until after public question time. Okay, council committees, the confirmation of their minutes. Councillor Lambert and Councillor Adams, welcome. Thank you. Any discussion? Oh no, that's to accept the minutes from the listed committees. All those in favour? Against? Carried.
5.4. Yeah.
5.4.
Come back to that.
We're going to come back to that. Yeah, yes, we'll come back to
The
that.
lady may be attending public question time, so to ask those questions, so we'll leave it until then.
So this is to accept the minutes of the various committees. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Now, recommendations from some of the committees, Campbelltown District Committee, this is similar, they're advocating for a full-time police presence in Campbelltown, and the officer's recommendation is that it's the same as before. Yes. So move that one, Councillor Lambert, Councillor Terrett. Is that one? All those in favour? Against? Carried. Oh, sorry. Councillor Lambert, Councillor Terrett, move that. Yep.
Yes.
Right, the next one. Okay. Longford Local District Committee, they have a recommendation around toilets, shade, seating and bins at Illawarra Road bus stop. Councillor McCullough is moving that. And Councillor Adams, you're seconding?
I'll second it, yep.
Yes. I should have said before any discussion. Councillor Brooks, did you have your hand up?
Did we discuss on this one?
Yes, we will, yes. My apologies for not saying that before. Officer's recommendation is that council write to the Department of State Growth to request an immediate clean-up and ongoing maintenance of the truck stop site and surrounding road verges on Illawarra Road, Longford, and further reinstate council's previous requests for the installation of a septic or alternative non-reticulated toilet facility, provision of a shared pathway and planting of screening vegetation, and request a response outlining proposed actions and timeframes. So we have a mover and a seconder. Any discussion? Councillor Brooks. Oh, actually, I should be asking Councillor McCullough first.
Sorry, Brooks can go first.
Okay. Councillor Brooks.
I can remember bringing this up a few years ago
Yes.
about this very issue.
Exactly.
And it's reared its head again. We've done nothing, or the government have done nothing. Even a portable toilet of some description would be better than what's there now. There's nothing there. I don't know if any other councillors have been there and had a look at the state of the, there's toilet paper blowing around in the grass. So, you don't need to be Einstein to work out what's going on over there. It's a putrid mess, stinks. Something needs to be done by state growth immediately. They've done something at Westbury, at Exton there. It looks like it's a beautiful setup there with that truck pull-up area. I don't think we need anything that elaborate, but a simple toilet and some sort of picnic table there would be a good start. This day and age, you don't need all the bells and whistles within services now to put a toilet. You can basically put a toilet anywhere. So the excuse about septic tanks and all the rest of it, it doesn't really come into play in this day and age. So I think it's about time the state growth listened and acted on it.
Councillor Adams, do you wish to speak to it?
Thank you. Yeah, yes, there's an issue here, but there's a few issues that I wanted to raise when I read the report. Well, the one about toilets is, for example, this is a health issue, becomes a health issue, and council needs to probably deal with that. And in a report, there's no sewage pipes there, so you would need to have a portable toilet or whatever. But this is a state highway. The cost of this was put in by state growth, and they need to look after it and deal with it. But I'm concerned that when we go through this and state growth advised us as a council, the line is the project is a road safety upgrade and complies with the planning scheme. Well, there's an issue there that we need to get something out of the planning department to start to deal with this, because this isn't complying. This might comply with the words that are in our planning scheme, but it needs to change, because letting this happen and letting the planning scheme allowing this to happen means that that there's something failing. So we need to start to look at the failure of how this occurred, and nothing was, we had no input into it to say if this starts to occur, state growth needed to act on it. So it's getting some action, and I understand that further up the highway there's been some things done. They're arguing that one is a long-term, I think that's the main argument, One is the long-term haulers stop, which ours isn't. Ours is just a rest area or a stop area, where the one further up is a long haul. So we need to tackle that through those words or whatever they're using against us.
Any further discussion before I ask Councillor McCullough to sum up? Councillor Lambert?
This is exactly what we said was going to happen when this came to the table. We lobbied and lobbied and lobbied and it fell on deaf ears. This could have already been in place, and now if we're going to have any chance of getting this done, which we absolutely should have, I mean, I think it clearly is very obvious here what needs to happen, it's going to cost a lot more. And this could have already been in. It's a bit like, anyway, I'm just very frustrated that these sorts of things fall on deaf ears. It's a bit like the bikeway, We lobby, we have great reasons and rationales and justifications for all of these projects to happen, and it's just a blanket no. And we really, it's really frustrating as councils and our community and our trucking community, who deserve better than this. They absolutely deserve better than this, and I hope that they are going to come to the party this time.
Just a couple of things. I just can't believe we can't get our health officer to go down and do a report on the site and do some testing of the ground and that kind of stuff. So if there is any residue there, and if there is residue there, then
Take photos. They went down and took photos. It's in the attachments.
I mean, some soil testing, contamination in the soil, and then I believe you could go to the EPA. Has got some, they've got some responsibility here as well, because you just can't have people doing that kind of stuff all the time. And maybe the truck stop should be closed until they get the thing rectified. And maybe that's what we should suggest they do, that they actually close it until it's rectified. Because if we just let it keep on going and do that, but we need some evidence from our health officer. We need some data, not just some photographs. We need some testing of the soil, testing of contaminants are there in the soil, and see what it's like, and give that to their health officers so they can actually do a site analysis as well. But that's the kind of stuff we need to do. Just I think we need to draw a line in the sand and not just go along with it like it is. Otherwise, we'll be still doing the same talking again in years to come.
Any further discussion?
I just say,
You've already spoken. I'm sorry,
yeah,
Councillor
what
Adams.
about the planning scheme? Could I get a comment? Yes.
From the planning officers, yes.
Yeah, I'll fix it.
The planning officer's going to make a comment.
So the report, notes the advice on state growth. Provision of user facilities, so toilets, shared pathways is not required under the planning scheme. Well, it's not. They've put in the heavy vehicle parking area. There's no provision in the scheme that says where state growth puts in a heavy vehicle parking area, they must also put in toilets. There's the same provision. It's just not there. So it's correct when they say that. Yeah.
Councillor
Rest
McCullough.
area though?
It's a rest area, not a proper stop. But I mean,
We're
that's
talking about wording here, like.
Whether you call it a rest area or a heavy vehicle area, under the planning scheme it's not required. It's state growth that you have to go to get them to call it a rest area, in which case it would need under their guidelines, I
It
believe.
definitely is a rest area.
All right, you've had your say already, Councillor McCullough.
Thank you for everybody's comments, because I think it's just pure arrogance from the State Growth Department to ignore what is a requirement for their roads. So they've asked us to do something for them, we've obliged, and then we've got to pick up the pieces for their lackadaisical approach. So I'm with Councillors Goss and Councillor Adams. I think we should be looking at alternative means to enforce a clean up of the area and potentially close it down as a health hazard or whatever. If they want to play those sort of games, then we need to play the games with them and find an alternative way of getting around their wording, and we'll meet them head on. So let's find a way to close it down until further notice.
I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Okay, now it's public question time. Was 5? Yep, okay. Now we're going to go to public question time. Public questions and statements. Now, welcome to the members from the community. Is there any member of the community who wishes to make a statement or ask a question about something that's not related to our two planning items? Yes? Just give your name and the town you live in, and you've got 3 minutes.
My name's Frances Stewart and I live just outside Longford. And I'm hoping that what I'm speaking about tonight will be a refreshingly easy yes from council. And it's to do with the Blue Tree project. I'm aware that, or we are aware as part of the Longford District Committee, currently in recess, that council is aware of the disappointment, sadness in the community when the Blue Tree had to be removed for safety issues. And through the District Committee, we put it out to the community, saying, could anyone nominate a replacement Blue Tree that could be painted up in its place, but nothing's been forthcoming. So as part of the District Committee, we had also discussed the possibility of a metal sculpture. And in calling into Eskridge on Friday, I received the very generous offer for the community from Ian Frost to donate a sculpture of a metal sculpture of a tree. And then from Optimo, Patrick down at Optimo, who also very generously jumped straight in and said that they would be more than happy to also powder coat it to provide a tree that would be zero maintenance down the track. They also offered to provide the concrete footings for it and any other requirements that would be required. What the sort of thing that we're looking at, and I'm happy to pass around the table, would be something along these lines. What we are lacking is council space to place it. So would council please support the project initially and also then do the work of coming up with a suitable location for it? We're looking for something that is highly visible, especially from passing traffic, which I think has the most impact for the community, something within the Longford community, since the support is coming from 2 Longford businesses, and perhaps instead of, in lieu of where it was, somewhere that's more tactile and available to the community in a sense of being able to go and actually visit it. So I'm hoping that has your support.
Thank you very much. It sounds like an excellent idea. We don't own any of that land around the area where the Blue Tree was, do we?
No, that's Crown land.
That's Crown land.
But I think the
But
lady's looking at.
yes, you're looking at options for where it could go.
One of the ideas that came up was the land outside the levee bank below the Longford roundabout on the Longford side, in that sort of park area where there have been some trees planted in there. That would be one location which would have a fairly high degree of visibility, and but it would also be accessible to people from the walking tracks and so on.
Certainly could be investigated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That we'll investigate.
Yep. Is there any other members of the community who don't want to speak about planning items? If you want to ask a question about anything else, now's the
I'm
time.
not sure whether it's planning or not, Cobber.
It's not a not a planning
Not a
item.
planning item, you've got
No.
3
I
minutes.
understand, Bob.
Yes, yes.
Um,
Tell me your name and you've got 3 minutes.
Shannon Williams. My family owns the block 69 Cromwell Street, Perth. It's on the corner of Cromwell Phillip Street. It's currently zoned industrial light. I've read through your planning scheme, and it says, I'll read a few things that I said, and then I'll tell you a bit of history, and I'll try and get it all out in 3 minutes, and I'll stop trying to hold you up, I'm sorry. And I don't speak publicly very often either,
All
so.
right, just go ahead.
It says industrial land, I found this on page 275, it says, while there is undersupply of industrial land in Perth, 3.08 hectares at present, there is a general oversupply of industrial land in northern Tasmanian region, which basically can attributed to the airport over at Western Junction. I found that on page 275. On page 280, there's opportunities and constraints. So there seems to be councils through this plan that there could be some issues there with industrial light and residential so close together. On the next page, 281, it says there's an opportunity, it's highlighted an opportunity for residential and further subdivision of larger land holdings. The particular block that the family owns is highlighted there in yellow. The two next to them that are industrial light are not. Why that is, I'm not sure, but that's interesting. And I got this from page 298. It says option 2, design strategies. And I use this one because it said the preferred one. And it says, to avoid land use conflicts, rezone residential land to the northwestern part of Perth and relocate such activities to a suitable location outside the study area. I'm assuming in Western Junction. And the last bit, this is the bit that really sort of got me, was on structure plan 3.2, it says work with current industrial landowners to look for alternative suitable locations outside the Perth study area boundary, which could meet short and longer term storage, warehousing and other light industry demands. Now it's got there, its proximity is high, it's down as should be addressed short term, and it says the people that are responsible is the Northern Midland Council, the landowner and the business owner. Well, we've been trying for 5 years to get it changed to residential, and we keep, as you said before, councillor, hitting roadblocks that say no. What I'm asking tonight is, can the council be the applicant, please, to rezone that land that's currently residential light to residential general, which is what the strategic plan says it is anyway. And to give you a bit of a quick history on that block, is Dad brought that block in 1987. We tried to develop a transport depot on it as industrial land in the late 90s, early 2000s. It got passed by the council.
I'll just let you know you're over your 3 minutes.
I'll move that we extend the time.
Move and seconder, all in favour?
Aye.
Against, carried. You've got a lot more time now.
Thank you. And that got passed by the council, but then, which became Nelson's Place, which was originally Industrial Light 2, appealed that. So we ended up in a meeting in this very room with an appeals board, and the advice that we got back then was, there's a couple of things here the council probably needs to reinvestigate. Do you mind waiting 2 years and reapplying again and walking away from this? Yes, we can push forward, but we recommend you do that. So we did that. Then we come back 3 years later and asked the council, rightio, can we get going again on industrial light? And the message was loud and clear from council, no. We want those blocks as residential. We do not want any industrial in Perth at all. Western Junction is for industrial. Don't even bother putting an application in because it'll get knocked back. That's what we were told from council at the time. Ever since then, we flipped around. It was probably the right decision. With everything that's grown around there and all the houses and everything, industrial's not right for the area. So we flipped the coin and said, can we have it rezoned? And now we're running into roadblocks again. We don't want to rezone this land to make a heap of money in residential. We've got 6 kids, me and my brother between us. We want them to have a chance in life. I don't need to tell smart people that sit here in front of me, cost of living, cost of housing, crisis. And I'm not a rich man, so I can't go out and buy them houses and give them to them. But thankfully, Dad's had this land for 40 years. And if it gets zoned to residential like council wants it to, and like it sensibly should be, we can give them a chance because we've got the land there, half a chance. The other thing I'd like to say too is there used to be 4 blocks there, not 3. The 4th one is already zoned residential. At some stage, the precinct's been set where it's been done before. Residential right next to light industrial. So, and I looked there today, in the house that's the middle of those houses is 3 metres off the boundary. Okay, 44 Cromwell Street. Dad's also the owner of that. That got changed from industrial light to residential, and we never even knew. I didn't even know until I spoke to
Can I
Paul on
just,
Friday, I'm
suggest,
sorry.
can I just, your time's up now, can I just suggest that our planner may give you some sort of comment? You might not be able to answer your questions properly now, but
We were investigating.
yeah,
Yeah, I think
it'll
that-
be investigated.
Discuss this.
Yeah, yeah, we'll
Needs
get
to
the
come to
planners
us.
and the acting general manager to investigate your issues and they'll get back to you.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, councillor Brooks?
Can I just ask the planner though, in light of what's gone on over the period of time about rezoning, do we ever want any industrial land there, given what's going on around it now and what's potentially going to happen in Perth with all that residential land? Like,
I mean, the strategy per structure plan is to try and get that land rezoned from light industrial, to get it to general industrial. That's the strategy. Yeah.
so what is the biggest roadblock then that you can see, Paul?
Yeah, so you know, if we had those three owners all wanting it to be rezoned to general industrial, easy.
Residential.
Sorry, residential, easy. The two of them don't. So that would be bringing Mr. Williams' property as a general residential right up against light industrial. I'll take his point that the one to the south immediately has already done that. So it's really, that's the only perhaps roadblock, well, not roadblock so much, but issue. And it's also a question of whether Mr. Williams does the amendment, you know, applies to the amendment itself, or whether council applies for it.
Have the investigation, councillor
Well, I
McCullough.
understand it, it could be rezoned, the 3 blocks could be rezoned to residential, future residential. Existing use rights would exist on the industrial. The residential could go to residential and the industrial could stay there forever and day and still have 2 years long life. Even if he wanted to sell it, he wouldn't be inhibited. So I can't see there's any downside to that.
I think so, yeah, it would have existing use rights for what's there at the moment, which is, last year's was a furniture joinery, and the one to the south is, I think, has got no use really, it's just storage. So if they got rezoned to residential, they would be really the only uses, industrial type uses they could have. They'd lose any of the other type of industrial uses that they might want to apply for on those ones.
We really wouldn't want anything else in there. It's amongst houses. And you've got another one you've got another block of land in, I think it's this one here, in 17 Napoleon Street, zoned industrial as well. That's crazy.
Yeah, similar issue with it. Yeah.
Devon Hills has got Devon Hills where Digger is and the block community. Is there any other land there that's resident that's light industrial?
So that just covers Digger itself plus Island Block, so that they haven't been subdivided, so we haven't got that opportunity there. No, that's right.
Councillor Lambert. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, there is 2 options then. There's just apply for that particular block, which is no different to having houses around it anyway.
Yeah.
Or do the whole 3 and then he's got existing use rights forever and a day.
I'd prefer just the one because, as was pointed out, that actually is indicated on one of these plans within
Thank you.
the structure plan. Yeah.
Councillor Lambert.
Precedent's already been set where one of the blocks has already been rezoned, and it's only a matter of time because, as Mr. Williams has clearly pointed out, it's in our paperwork that we want this done as a council. I'd like to see a report come back looking at all of there's some really good options that have been put around the table today, and I think Mr. Williams has also put some really good options on the table. And now I think as a council we need to come back and have a really good look at what we've actually said we wanted and how we can help Mr. Williams achieve that. Because we actually want the same things. So I think, you know, and the fact that we've already done it for one block, I think we need to look at how we can make this happen and no more roadblocks. So can I get a report, can we get a report to come back to council for us to look at that?
Yeah.
To look at this whole situation and how we can solve it, please.
Councillor Archer.
Yeah, can I just make the comment that the purchaser of the other 2 titles has the rights under the present planning scheme to set up another use which he might have. So there's a good chance that he would appeal any decision we made. That's not to say we shouldn't try, but it's perhaps not as easy as some people are alluding here. He's just bought that land and at this stage he can change use to anything in that zone. So there's no existing use requirement there on him. He can actually start a new business on that land. So I just think a report might be a bit disappointing, but we perhaps should go ahead and try at least.
Excuse me, wouldn't part of the report be council officers investigating or having a chat with that owner to see how he's thinking? So we've got some.
Investigation will include all that.
Councillor Brooks, do you have your hand up?
Oh, no, I was just going to say what Councillor McCullough said. If it is rezoned back to residential, he's still got existing use rights.
Yeah.
So can't really see
He doesn't want that use, he wants a new use.
who says he does that. And then do we want that?
At the workshop, we were told he did.
That's what
Structural
we have
plans.
to.
We wanted to move away from that.
The report will explain it all, yes. Okay, is there any other member of the community who wishes to ask a question or make a statement about something that's not related to our two planning items? All right, we'll move into planning.
Can I just ask
Yes.
a question? We are going to get a report come back.
Yes.
That'll be in the minutes. Yep.
Yes, yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, what about 5.4?
Yeah, we can go back.
5.4, we'll go back to that first before we move into planning. Yes, okay. 5.4.
Question
Questions on notice, hang on, I'll just go
by
back
a
to.
member of the public, and we just note the answers are in the agenda, so we will just note those.
Thank you, good night. Everybody got that? No, not necessarily. We don't have it in the past. 5.4, the questions on notice by a member of the public. They've been answered. The answers are in the agenda. So, all right, now we'll move into acting as a planning authority. And Councillor Adams, you had your hand up before? Yes.
I'll second it.
And
I
Councillor
move
Cole?
that we move to
Yes.
planning.
All those in favour? Against? Carried. Is there any member of the community who wishes to ask a question about either of the planning items? No? Okay. Planning one. Planning one is a draft amendment, 24-2026, the Ross Dark Sky Specific Area Plan. Sorry, right. And we have a recommendation there, the council under section 40DB of the Land Use Planning and Approvals Act 1993 agree to prepare a draft amendment 24-2026 to the Northern Midlands Local Provisions Schedule as set out below. And number two, under section 40F1 of the Land Use Planning and Approvals Act, consider and endorse the assessment against the land LPS criteria attached to the report. And number three, under section 40F2A, under the Land Use Planning and Approvals Act, certify draft amendment for the Northern Midlands Local Provisions Schedule as meeting the LPS criteria. So I have a mover and a second. Councillor McCullough, you're moving, and Councillor Andrews seconding. Councillor McCullough.
Yeah, this is an extension of the Dark Skies project we passed a few months ago, and as we said earlier in the evening, it's all grown towards that area of the way we're amending our lights and stuff for the town, so it's fine.
Councillor Andrews.
Yes, this is a continuation of a project that council's already given its support to. So as Councillor McCullough said, this is sort of, we're continuing on. Questions arise about various things, and they did in the workshop from councillors about how this next process would work. You know, when you come to new businesses wanting to open at Ross, etc. But I think those answers to those sorts of questions are in our attachments and in the information we've been given by council officers. So I would be supporting this and helping Ross District to get on with their amazingly unique and innovative plan.
Councillor Terrett.
Yeah, I just echo what previous speakers have had, but I'd really like to thank people that have pushed this forward. People like Nigel Davis and others who have really been innovative in this space, and the Ross residents who have got behind this, because without them, these type of projects don't get off the ground. And I think council coming to the party with these amendments and also shading lights, it makes a very exciting tourist area for Ross, makes it again a unique experience, and hopefully be the first in Tasmania to be a dark sky town.
Councillor Adams.
I just want to say, I hope they leave one light on at Ross so that any of us that want to find Ross in the night.
Councillor Archer.
Yes, look, I've been on the district committee down there, and this has been a project for a while, and I support it. It's a great option for Ross, which obviously has the heritage background. The only thing I would say is that I just think the people of Ross, the residents, should all be aware of what the potential issues are with their personal properties and obviously potential businesses, because even though we are dealing with the district committee and obviously we know what's happening, I think the people of Ross need to understand what the issues are with this. So I'd like to see some communication with them about whether they support the Dark Sky project, rather than wait for later and someone can't put a new light outside their back door for some reason, they don't know. So, yeah, I just think it's something we should be aware of.
And that a business may not be able to illuminate as they might think they can. Councillor Lambert's next, and then Councillor.
That's a very good idea, just to make sure the whole community is included in understanding what's going on, because it is a nationally important project. I think what we're saying here, this is very unique and quite exciting for Ross. And I too commend all of those people that have spent a lot of time putting that information together, very passionate people. And they're actually moving in the same direction as nationally, we're moving in the same directions in terms of that national light reduction policies and things like that, which we talked about at the national conference just recently. So that all, that synergy is all working well together. So, Ross is working towards that national agenda as well, which is quite interesting and exciting too. So congratulations. I look forward to seeing what comes back, because this will now go to public exhibition, is that correct?
Yeah,
And then
that's right.
we'll see if the representations come back, or hopefully positive representations. They don't just have to be negative ones, do they? So hopefully there'll be.
Positive ones can come, so.
Yeah.
And I've had other councils now reach out to me because they're quite impressed with what's going on. Councillor Andrews was just to have a clarification about something.
Clarification, and it might help, and we've just found out that it's going up for public comment anyway, but part of the business plan and the applications to council from the group putting it forward, which is not the district committee, but it's a group that's part of the district committee, has that included that they've basically door knocked every Ross resident. They've done the community consultation before they even started. Obviously, we need to do it as a council too. They have done it.
Any further discussion? Councillor McCullough, would
No,
you just
great
sum up?
unified approach around the table, and it's a really fantastic thing for Ross. There's only a handful of these projects around the world, so I think we've taken a great approach, and that's a good outcome.
I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Planning 2 is a draft amendment 25/2026, the Longford Entrance Local Historic Landscape Precinct. Does our planner wish to say anything first?
Basically, this is an outcome that's come from the significant tree project. It came in as a nomination for the section of trees along the edge of the road there, and looking at it more thoroughly, we've decided that a local historic landscape precinct is probably more appropriate, rather than actually looking at those trees in their individual significance. It actually looks more so at that area as a whole, and also encompasses that sort of historic entrance route into Longford. So it's a way of acknowledging that and also achieving the outcome of the nomination.
Thank you. And the officer's recommendation is that Council, under Section 40DB of the Land Use Planning and Approvals Act, agree to prepare draft amendment to the Northern Midlands Local Provision Schedule as set out below, and under Section 40F of the Land Use Planning and Approvals Act, consider and endorse the assessment against the LPS criteria within the report, and under Section 40F2A of the Land Use Planning and Approvals Act, certify draft amendment to the Northern Midlands Local Provision Schedule as meeting the LPS criteria. And part of that is to insert the Longford Entrance Local Historic Landscape Precinct into Table 6C, C6.3, Local Historic Landscape Precincts in accordance with Attachment A. So I have a mover and a seconder. Councillor Andrews is moving and Councillor Adams is seconding. Councillor Andrews.
I think it's important that we move this motion for a number of reasons, and probably not for the very obvious one that comes to mind when we see this motion presented by our officers. We need to move this, as I said, for a number of reasons. The first is that we protect that avenue of trees if the fuel stock goes ahead, that it can't be removed, it needs to stay there. And secondly, for that avenue's historic value to this part of the world, which thanks to the amazing research program that the council officer undertook and presented us with all the information that we see before us, we now know that that avenue of trees was very much a community project back in 1986. It was led by a couple of people, Jeff Hudson, who people around this table would know and remember, and Hugh McKinnon, who's a former councillor but also been part of this community all his life. And they, from reading the information that we've got in front of us, they galvanised a huge community effort to get these trees planted. They had the Boy Scouts and the Brownies and the Girl Guides planting the trees, and they had the Meatworks offering to do the fencing and supplying the materials. Would that happen now? I'm not sure. And they had just about every group in Longford helping to get these in situ. And just because of that community project, we need to honour that and take care of this avenue of trees and make sure that they stay there forever, showing respect to that community project that got them there in the first place. So I think this is very important to be passed and become part of our local provisions schedule as suggested by the officers.
Councillor Adams.
Yeah, I endorse those words, and that the heritage and history of this area is very important, that we give it good protection, and the landscaping of our area is very significant and is recognised. And I love the history that was pulled out. 1850, I wondered where Herman Ross, who came from Victoria to the district to buy pigs, that was found in the Wickford Mill pond. I wondered what his fate was, or it must have been a hard job buying pigs in those 1850. But that history is wonderful, and it's what it's all about. It relays back to the avenue of trees and the work that the community people did in their day, and the council did in its day to give to our council area such a wonderful area of landscape.
Any further discussion? Councillor Archer.
Look, I'd just like to say that, yes, obviously I think it's a good idea, but it also is a bit of a warning to council, I think, about all the other potential towns in the municipality which have been bypassed or could be bypassed. Obviously, I won't go into names, but basically Longford has 3 entrances. All of them at some stage have been under threat from development. I think you only have to go to a neighbouring municipality and see what some development without these regulations causes, just unsightly buildings. So yes, the avenues of trees planted right through to Launceston have been done by people who are committed to the community, and we should honour them, try to keep them.
Councillor Andrews, do you wish to sum up? Yes,
No, I think it's been said, thank you.
I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Okay, so we'll now go back to... we've got a planning, sorry. Yes. Councillor McCullough and Councillor Lambert. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. I actually underlined it too, so I wouldn't forget.
We're going back to...
Okay, we're going back to the Ross District Committee's recommendation. So that was page 20. Yes, they have a recommendation from the Ross Local District Committee around the Ross Dark Sky Community Accreditation, Council support and implementation actions. And the officer's recommendation is that Council A support the progression of the formal agreement between Northern Midlands Council and Tas Networks for the staged replacement of street lighting to meet dark sky community accreditation requirements, and B, approve the initiation of replacement and/or shielding of council-owned porch lights in Ross to be funded through the existing works maintenance budget as an initial demonstration of dark sky friendly lighting implementation. Councillor McCullough's moving and Councillor Lambert is seconding. Councillor McCullough.
Just based on the extension of what we've already passed earlier, so it's fine.
Councillor Lambert.
Same support.
Any further discussion? I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. The next one is from the Evandale District Committee, and they have a recommendation around Pioneer Park upgrade staging and funding, and the officer's recommendation is that committee's request be supported. And I'll just read out the committee what they were suggesting, that the District Committee requests Council to 1, investigate and pursue suitable grant and funding opportunities to support the implementation of upgrades to Pioneer Park and provide a report back to the committee on available funding options and next steps. I have a mover and a seconder, Councillor Terrett and Councillor Lambert. You wish to speak to it, Councillor
I
Terrett?
think it's reasonably straightforward. It's just, we want to see the project happen. I think council does too.
Yes. Councillor Lambert, same thing.
We just want to see this project getting up and going.
I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Other committee recommendations, the Devon Hills Neighbourhood Watch and Residents Committee, notice on motion. What's the actual thing that they're asking for? We've got the officer's recommendation that council note the advice from the Department of State Growth and formally advise the committee that no further action will be taken in relation to this matter. I did read the matter. Give way sign at the exit of Devon Hills Road, Haggerston Road intersection to be changed to a stop sign. And the recommendation is that we take no further action. So I have a mover and a seconder for a motion. Councillor Adams and Councillor Archer, sorry. Councillor Adams, do you wish to speak to it?
No, pretty simple.
Councillor Archer? No. Councillor Lambert?
I'm not sure that this is the right way to be going. We were discussing in our workshop of works that are going to be happening at that intersection. And yes, the stop sign may not be happening, but there were a lot of other mitigation measures that were going to be implemented, and I'm just wondering whether we might be able to get the works manager to explain that. So, and perhaps we could get some way of getting that information back to the committee through a letter or something, so they are aware that this is going to be happening and when. Because I think if we just send back that no, we say no to a stop sign, well then they feel like nothing's happening. But I'd like to perhaps get some advice. And works manager.
Yeah, so the green area which is marked across the intersection of Devon Hills, that'll be repainted when the weather does improve. And also engineering's got to have a look at putting some chevrons over there, the red and yellow ones which are on shared pathways, to give you a slowdown point to do that crossing. So we'll be looking at it this week and implementing it if it's all okay to go from there.
Excellent. So are we able to get that information back to that district committee?
Yes, the acting general manager will make sure that they get notified.
The yellow paint.
Councillor Adams.
The yellow paint that we used in Wellington Street is washing off on the driveway, so maybe we need to use a better yellow paint then. What the problem is the weather, because the asphalt carries water. It's just the moisture content. So.
Councillor Andrews.
I was just going to ask, green paint was mentioned. Are we
Yes,
painting
yes,
green
green.
paint or yellow paint?
It's actually green paint for a shared pathway and yellow paint for no parking.
Right, and that goes on the surface?
Yes.
Okay.
Councillor Terrett.
Yeah, look, I agree with Councillor Lambert here. It is not a safe intersection. And there was some discussion during the workshop whether we needed a traffic count for that area, and whether with the mover and seconder's approval that we do a traffic count for this intersection, if that's in order.
Can that happen anyway, or do we need to? We can have that anyway, yeah.
Can I speak?
Works manager wishes to speak to
Can I
that.
speak? Can I ask where we're traffic counting? Are we counting all three areas? Devon Hills, coming out of digger excavations, heading south, or the north? We're trying to do all three. I can't do them all at one time. That's why I have to go and borrow heavy gear. we've only got 2 traffic counters.
I think all of them, are certainly Devon Hills first.
No, that's what
I've got a couple of questions. Councillor Archer's got a
Surely
question.
it'd be the traffic actually coming up to a stop sign is the only one you really need
That's
to count.
right. That's right.
It's the Devon Hills Road that you need to
Come
count.
to a stop sign.
That's what
You
you
need one cars going in or turning another.
Anyone going past
One at a time, please.
Perth, they'll be going to Perth or whatever. Yeah, I would, if you want to put that in, I don't know what, does anyone know what the numbers are for a stop sign from the critique used by State Growth? Then there'd be a figure that they would say you only get a stop sign if you've got so much traffic.
We'll no doubt find out. Now, is
We know
anyone,
that from our Sticky Beaks investigation.
are you going to call that your summing up, Councillor Adams? Are you going to call that your summing up?
Yes.
Okay.
I
I'll,
think I seconded it.
I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Okay, information items. I move in a second
I'll
of
move to
accepting.
8.5.
Councillor McCullough, seconder.
Would you say accept
Yeah, but I need a seconder. Councillor Terry. All except 8.5, is it 8.5? No. No, what was the one where Councillor Goss had to,
He's not.
5.4.
oh, that's later on in the budget, beg your pardon?
This is information items we're accepting, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, but you weren't singling out any particular ones, Councillor McCullough?
Just 8.5. Just,
Eight
well, I
point-
think 8.5.
All except for 8.5.
All except for 8.5, okay, right. Okay, right. Any discussion about the items except 8.5? No discussion? Any questions? Yes, Councillor Adams? We've got a Councillor Terry.
I didn't understand the animal control 8.7. There was some, I've got the income issues and the number of dogs registered, dogs impounded. We've got the grey area income issues for May 2026.
So they're the changes?
How does that
That's just the changes for the month,
changes for the month? I
Yes.
see.
the grey one, but the columns on the right-hand side are at the year to date.
Understand.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from anyone? Councillor Goss?
Yeah, I'm just trying to, it's under the animal control section. I just wonder what strategy council's got. You know, we've heard about the bird flu in other parts of the country. What strategy that Northern Midlands has got for that? We have a lot of birds and poultry in our municipality, and I just wondered about what strategy we have for that, and if maybe the general manager acting general manager like to discuss what their thinkings are on that and where we go. I did read a bit of data today that in England they lost 30% of the cat population, which is that'd be quite devastating for domestic cats. It might be quite so good for the feral cats either. But that's an example of where it went in England, but there's probably other data about it as well. It'd be interesting to hear what General Manager has got to comment on.
Yeah, so we're working with the emergency services in Launceston, and we've got a seminar this week to attend to work out the actions going forward and what the priorities are for our area. So, I'll be able to keep you informed, but at this stage we're following the SES guide at the moment.
If I can comment.
Yes, Councillor Adams?
We have a lot of water birds on the rivers here, and a lot of ducks and mullards, and so I think it's significant. And I'm sure right up the river, the birds right back to where I grew up. So it is significant. And,
Councillor Goss?
Sorry, one more say. I just wondered whether we should, if birds start falling out of the sky, should we let our community know what the procedures are to handle them? I mean, they're not supposed to handle them. They're supposed to leave them where they are, but I just wonder about that thing where we need to have a procedure to let our community know in advance rather than after it may be too late. The migrating birds will be coming here pretty soon, within the next 6 weeks, and then they'll start flocking to the state, and we might be seeing a bigger influx in our state anyway.
When's the Muckenbirds arrive?
No, we'll keep councillors informed of what actions we'll be taking, but certainly at the moment we're following SES and biosecurity guide. So, they will keep us informed, and we'll keep councillors informed in the community as they release pamphlets and information. And I think I've already circulated the latest that they've sent out in our recent briefing reports.
Councillor Andrews.
Would it be a good idea, once we've got that information on what the recommendations are for Tasmania in being prepared, as a council, could we put something in our pages that go in the local newspapers?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we will keep
letting people know, because people see that.
Any further questions about the information items?
Is there any correspondence from these? I mean, each state has a very high level committee that deals with this stuff, and they must be,
Yes.
and you're on a committee or the subcommittee of that,
Yeah.
and that should get.
that. Yeah, they will filter that down as that situation changes.
All right, I'll put those items to be accepted. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Now, councillor McCullough, you wish to separate out the conferences and seminars reports?
Yes, I want to raise 8.5. It's been brought to my attention that 3 officers went to Canberra for the
Yes.
WGAT or OSGAT or whatever it might be called, which seems to contravene council policy, and was not notified to all councillors. It was only notified to select councillors.
I can address that. Obviously, NTDC, our regional council body, contacted all councils in the northern region to let us know that their chairperson couldn't attend the ALGA conference, and offered the tickets and accommodation to the conference to any other council or anybody that wanted to send another delegate and really at only the cost of the airfare. So I put my hand up quickly for that opportunity so that we could allow someone else to attend, and we offered, after speaking to the Mayor, we offered the ticket to the Executive Committee members and the spare Executive Committee member, and I agreed to pay under our professional development policy to fund the airfare, and so that the extra councillor could take the opportunity to attend that conference, and at a fairly small cost. I know that was against the policy for allocating expenses to councillors. However, it didn't contravene the professional development policy, so I took it upon myself to authorise that amount.
So that was on May the 8th that that email came out?
Yep.
There was a meeting between May the 8th and today, wasn't there?
Yeah, although obviously other councils, and there's an email from NTDC where the other councils were keen to have a candidate, so I had to make a decision whether we'd take it or wouldn't.
But there's a difference between taking the ticket and allocating the ticket.
Well, I had to have someone to allocate it to before I could take it.
I don't necessarily agree.
Councillor Terrett.
I'm disappointed that no other councillors were given the opportunity. I've been to ALCA conferences on numerous occasions, and they are informative. And the ability of, if this precedent is left to remain, what you're saying is basically if I go and pay my own entry into ALCA, you will pay for my airfare and accommodation. That's the precedent that you've set. You've also accepted a gift from the NTDC, which has a commercial arrangements with this council. And the optics of that aren't sound. and consideration of any type of expenditure in accordance with our policies says that any expenditure in excess of $200 is required to have a resolution of council. Either council changes their policy or this does not occur again.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I'd just like to say generally, I believe that officers of this council, like every other council, and also its mayor, deputy mayor, and councillors, to attend conferences, especially the AGO, is important. The networking opportunities are enormous, and there's a lot of information there put out and by allied industries that work with councils to do that. So I think the learning experience is terrific, and the networking is terrific, and I don't think being grubby about it is of any issue at all.
I take offence to being grubby.
Excuse me,
withdraw
please,
grubby.
Councillor Adams is speaking.
I withdraw grubby.
Anybody else wish to make comment? No, you've already had your say.
I want to sum up.
Yes.
Well,
It's not a motion, no. It's not a motion, I beg your pardon. It's simply
we voted in March to
it's
send two
simply
people along. We
accepting-
voted in March to send two people along to that conference.
Hang on, point
It's
of order.
simply accepting
That's right.
that item in the information items. Now I'm going to put that item to be accepted, please. I'll put that, all those in favour?
Aye.
Against?
Aye.
Right, put your hands up against, please. Councillor Terrett, Councillor McCullough, Councillor Goss, are you against? That item in the
I'd like
information
to
items?
clarify a question.
Yes.
Who's moved this to go to because Councillor Adams moved the first ones, okay? And
Oh, all right, yes.
Councillor
I see.
Gullah and somebody else moved the
Councillor
other step of this
McCullough.
one.
Yeah,
So
Councillor,
someone needs to move
yeah.
this 8.5.
Councillor McCullough and Councillor Terrett is what I've got down.
We're not moving
You haven't
8.5,
moved it?
are we?
Right.
They moved it.
You're
No.
right, you're
Yeah,
correct.
sorry, yeah.
Yeah, you're correct. So I need a mover and a seconder to accept that item in the, Councillor Adams is moving. Thank you, Councillor Goss. And Councillor Goss is seconding to accept 8.5 of the information items. Thank you, Councillor Goss. Now I'll put that recommendation, that item of information items. Those are wishing to accept it.
I think I can speak to it.
Yes, you can speak to it.
Look, even though the motion's been accepted, and I think we do need to move on, I do consider that part of the issue here was that we have an executive council, and it's an issue I think that the council needs to look at in the future, whether we do need one and the ramifications of having that. So I'd just like to add that to the discussion, please.
Yes. Now I'll put that recommendation. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against?
Aye.
So those against, please, Councillor Terrett, Councillor McCullough and Councillor Brooks. The motion's carried. Thank you. Now we're up to development services. Sorry? Yes, information items are finished, yes.
Well, the vandalism page is quite good, the way it's set out. I thought that was really, I just wanted to make that point.
Yes.
The numbers
handy for
horrific. The numbers horrific though. isn't
Yeah,
it?
well, it's very good.
Page 71 now.
Okay, number 13.
Yes. 13.1, Development Services Monthly Report. Have a mover and a seconder, please, that we accept those and then you can ask questions.
That's right, Councillor.
Yeah, page 71 on the paper. Councillor Andrews and seconder, Councillor Adams. Okay, any questions? No questions? I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Perth Structure Plan Review is next. 13.2. That's page 79, you're right.
80 on
Okay.
the hard copies.
Yes. Can I have a mover and a seconder for the recommendation that council note the report and continue to progress the matters identified in the Perth Structure Plan?
And what page are you on?
Page
Page 80 on the hard copy.
79.
79 or 80. Yep. Councillor Terrett's moving. Councillor Lambert is seconding. Councillor Terrett, do you wish to speak?
Yes. I brought this as a motion. I noticed, council, that we get an update, and I'm pleased I did, looking at getting a bit of a history about what has occurred and also Perth's movement in its population over the last 10 years. Originally, the plan was looking at a 1 to 2% increase. We were at 3.5% increase and an extra 323 lots in that time. This has seen a population movement of up until 2025 of 3,219. And I think this year's census will see an increase on that as well. The important thing about this is it gives us an update, and this will be one of the fastest growing areas of our council if and when the Drummond Street development and other developments start taking place. And it's in asking for this report, it gives us a bit of an insight in what council is doing to address those concerns and planning for the future. I'd like to see a similar report brought back every 18 or 2 years so that we keep up to date about what's going on, because I think things are starting to move in Perth. We've seen the development near the highway. I think we'll start seeing a lot more, and the availability of housing has become a very hot issue right across Australia, and particularly in Tasmania. It is concerning that there are problems that exist, in particularly water and sewage, and the need for TasWater to take some action immediately, because that will be the thing that will be holding back our community from growing in areas like Perth. And bringing that to the forefront, I think, is an important part of this report, particularly in relation to sewage, which is, and the treatment plant, which is non-compliant and overcapacity. There is a need to, if Drummond Street development goes ahead, that'll be probably, I think it was estimated 400 lots.
Probably
And more. And so that would be a major change to that town. It'll make it one of the biggest, probably bigger, I think it's bigger than Longford now, and continue to grow quite rapidly. So continuing of monitoring what's going in Perth is important. It also gave some assurances as far as community space. And the purchase of the old police station actually marries very nicely with this plan. And having community space is an important part. We often look at these developments and look at the developers, and yes, developers build houses, but councils build communities. And that's what we should be thinking at when we're looking at Perth for the future.
Councillor Lambert.
Yeah, look, I support everything that Councillor Terrett has just said. You know, we've got this great little snapshot of what's happening from the review. There's a lot of things still to do. I've noted there's a lot of not started, quite a lot of completed activities. But yeah, look, Perth is a desired destination now. As quick as people are putting their buildings, you know, and houses up, so they're gone off the plan.
Before they put them
And
there.
before in some instances. So it's a really exciting time for Perth after years of waiting for bypass to go through. This is now the fruits of that waiting and patience from that community. So we're seeing a really dynamic and exciting community developing here. But you're right, TasWater, Tas Networks, they need to get their act together. They need to look at this community and see how quickly it's developing. And I don't want them to be the reason that this town becomes stagnant again, because we're waiting for them to upgrade infrastructure. So I'm hoping that they're going to be looking very carefully at Perth as a very important place that needs to continue to be kept up to date with those water and sewerage and power applications. So yeah, and now I agree, we should be bringing this back regularly to look at that because things are moving quickly in Perth. It's very exciting.
Councillor Adams.
I think there's a lot of, the structure plan needs to be upgraded regularly, but you know, there's a lot of other stuff, planning about education, sports presents, you know, the storm water for our own things of how we deal with that. We know we've got some very low spots over there that really are challenging, and there's some issues there in East Perth coming off the hills that need to be dealt with as well. Sewage is a real problem, and the state government is trying to slow down new processes, new subdivisions, especially as big as the one in Long Drummond Street. So it'll be interesting to see if there's anything thrown in way there. I guess that you know, they can. The state authority can supply the power for 400 blocks, but who knows?
Any further discussion? Yes, councillor Goss.
I really enjoyed the table on page 80 with all the growth figures for the last 10 years. I thought that was really good, and I really thought that it'd be really great to see something, kind of thing for the rest of the towns as well, because I know this is about Perth, but I think that kind of table in our report is pretty good for anyone to see. So I'd like to see that extended maybe for other towns in the future.
Well, thank Erin for that, because Erin did that work.
It was brilliant. Councillor Terry, is there any more to say? Do you wish to say?
No, I think it's all answered.
Right, all right, I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Now, meal break for our meal break now. I just need to let the people who are listening know that we'll be back at 7 o'clock. yeah. We're up to 14.1, appointment of a council law representative on the Perth Community Hub Management Committee. And we have a recommendation there that council appoint a councillor as the council rep. Have a,
I'll move that, and I'd like to nominate myself.
yes, if you wish.
No, I'll second it.
Can we take other nominations?
Yes, we can.
I nominate Janet Lambert.
Yes. So that's,
No, I respectfully decline, thank you, but as I'm retiring, I don't think that would be appropriate for me to be accepting that nomination at this point in time. Thank you for the nomination.
you're nominating somebody
I'll
else?
do it on it. No, I'll have against him, he's fine.
No further
Can
nominations?
you actually nominate yourself?
Yes. I don't believe there's any rules against it, no? Councillor Archer, did you have your hand up?
Well, happy for Councillor Kerr to be nominated. I'm just wondering where it sits in with his previous removing himself from the room in regards to
My
previous.
partner no longer is involved, and in fact, has nothing to do with it now,
Okay.
Since when?
after months and months ago.
Right. If we have no other nominations, Councillor Terrett's name will be on it. Councillor Adams, did you have something to say? Right, so a mover and a seconder, Councillor Terrett, Councillor Brooks. It's already been done.
2-year term, is it? Or-
2-year term? Yep. I'll put that recommendation. All those in favour? Against? Carried.
Well, when you say 2 years, they'll, after the election, they'll
Oh,
probably
yeah,
all
yeah,
be.
Yeah.
So councillor Tarrant is?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
That goes in it, yep. Okay, 14.2, attendance at the Legat annual conference. Recommendation is that council approve the attendance of the mayor, deputy mayor and interested councillors at the Legat annual conference to be held in Hobart 20th and 21st of August 2026, including associated events on the 19th of August with expenses to be met from the council training and development budget.
Yeah, all I say is if councillors can be fairly quick because accommodation and everything's going pretty quick. Yes.
So we need the names of those who'd like to go.
I'm not bringing up my name. I'm just saying, does it affect our voting rights? The more go, we only get the same.
Oh, we only get our council gets the votes, yes. But we've got a voting card and that's the number.
I put myself up, but I won't need accommodation or other than being registered.
Okay, that's cool. Councillor Terry, you wish to go? And you'll need accommodation too.
No, I've already got my accommodation.
So your accommodation's fine, okay?
So just registration, yeah.
Yeah. Councillor McCullough, you're going to go? Any other councillors?
Registration only or
Register-
accommodation? And
I'll need accommodation down there.
You'll need accommodation, yep.
Martin Cash. Our Luna.
Yes, you can ask a question.
If the acting
Sleep
general
one
manager,
Excuse
alone.
me, everybody.
I don't know if the acting general manager is going, but I think the clarity of the resolution, if she is going, then I think it would be wise to incorporate that into this resolution.
yeah, I am.
So we'll put that first, acting general manager. Yep. Can you pop that in?
Put that in there?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, 1 minute.
Any other councillors putting Councillor Lambert and myself will be going?
Yes.
Yes. Any other councillors wish to go that haven't said yet that they'd like to? Okay.
And acting general manager.
Okay, I will put that recommendation, mover and a seconder.
I'll move it.
Yes, Councillor Archer and a seconder. Councillor Brooks. I'll put that recommendation. All those in favour? Against? Carried. You're right. I'm still making noise. Go away.
I haven't moved any people.
You are? Okay, we're up to 15.1, the monthly report, financial statement. Can we have a mover and a seconder that council receive and note the monthly financial report for the period ending the 31st of May and authorise budget alterations as listed in item 4? Monthly report. Councillor Terrigan moving. Councillor Goss is seconding. Any questions from Ms. Bricknell? Councillor Goss.
Yeah, just, wondering fees and charges. It's up 1.089 million on last year. Just wondered how come the fees and charges revenue was up so much. Oh, something big's coming there that we didn't expect, or?
I think that's, I just can't recall, but part of it is childcare.
Childcare.
Yeah, because we actually received 400 and something $1,000 grant to up the childcare wages, worker retention money, and I'll have to check on the other.
I just wondered is that going to affect the deficit with an extra 1 million coming in there?
Possibly, but if you look on the other side, it's probably going to be more as well.
Okay. Maybe we could get some information in the future.
The final numbers, we'll have a full explanation.
Any further questions, Councillor Goss?
I was going to ask why we were 2 million over on materials and services, but
That's mainly because of the TransLink contractor. Yes.
Thank you.
And we've just received the next instalment for TransLink, the $2 million grant, which will come in next month, which will counteract that extra expenditure.
Councillor Andrews.
I'm just curious about the council's expenditure, because it's gone up a bit. Is that just our allowances, or is that, is that just our, what we get paid once a fortnight or once a month or whatever, or is that all expenses?
It is supposed to be all expenses for councillors, all your allowances, and also the running expenses, and but with the reallocation this year, that doesn't look right to me.
No.
So we just need to check that at the end of the year.
So should
It's
it be
just-
more or less?
It's just with the change of our computer systems, some of the costs have been reallocated to different areas and we just need to refine those things by the end of the year. But the council allowances would be in the line of the budget, not the 88,000 actual.
Yeah.
Any further questions from anybody? No? I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Municipal budget. Now, I'm actually going to go to the meeting procedure rules and everybody gets 5 minutes. No longer, so that doesn't go on all night. We have a recommendation here that council receive the 26-27 annual plan and budget summary, including the budget, financial report, project and activity budget detail, capital works program, fees and charges schedule, rates and charges, policy, financial management strategy and long-term financial plan. I'm not going to go through it all, except that we're proposing, or it's proposed for us in the motion, a general rate of 8.727 with a general rate for residential purposes 5.273. So I need someone to move a motion, please. Yep, Councillor Goss.
Excuse me, I just wondered whether we can remove the special project assistance so that I can go outside for that. Is that okay?
Oh, except for number E. Hang on a second.
So that's easy.
Sorry. Oh, it doesn't want to work. Gosh. Go away. E.
Who's ready? Keep going down. Keep going.
Oh, yes, there. Okay, so we're moving everything, if this is the recommendation that's put forward, everything except E, and E is council approve and adopt the special project assistance and festivals, events and promotions allocations as detailed in the Appendix G to the 26-27 annual plan and budget summary. So we'll leave E out for the moment. And I need a mover and a seconder to move the rest of it. Or a motion. Yeah, you explain, yes.
So basically, council's proposed a rate approach which provides a 1.5% uplift in the general rate in the dollar, reflecting Hobart CPI annual movement as at March 2026. However, the 1% long-term financial plan sustainability component has been relaxed for the 2026-27, recognising the current cost of living pressures on ratepayers. Curbside waste charges being proposed to increase 5%, reflecting the increases in cost of delivering waste services. And fire levy has been increased in line with the State Fire Commission levy that we need to pay. That results in a general rate in the dollar increase of 5.1, although because it's a revaluation year, all properties will fluctuate up below and above the 5.1% overall increase. Curbside waste will be 5% increase, fees and charges approximately 5% increase. Financial assistance grants, we've assumed that we'll receive 4% increase. Taswater dividends, we assume that we will have a reduced dividend of some $94,000. This will result in underlying operating result of $867 million deficit. Our capital works.
I think you better have a say that again.
Oh, did I? $867,000 deficit. Our capital works are approximately $12.7 million, and our capital works mix this year will be approximately 76% renewal and 24% new or upgraded assets.
Okay, so I need someone to move a recommendation, please.
I will move that we accept the recommendation.
I'll second that.
And Councillor Andrews, Councillor Hart, did you wish to speak to it?
Yes, look, we've put a lot of work into it, and obviously the staff have put a lot of work into it. And it's a bit of a cliche, but we are in very difficult times. I think the big worry, obviously, is the rise in some of our expenditures. But you've only got to run a business and know how difficult it is to find staff and the cost of employing them. Some compliance issues which have been very expensive. I think basically it is a good budget. It's going to bring some angst to some people. Obviously, I understand we've got some ways of alleviating that for people in splitting payments, etc. But I think in the current situation, I'm happy to move it. I would just like to say, though, that I think rather than try and reduce our expenditure too much, which is very difficult, we've got to have an active growth strategy for this council, because in today's economic climate, unless you grow, which is the way the world is, unless you grow at a reasonably fast rate, eventually you just fall behind and business can't operate. So I'd just like to say that basically in supporting this, I would like to see the council actively work with network groups like Taswater and Tas Networks and really try and get this municipality moving along. We've got a wonderful asset in TransLink. We've got a proximity to Launceston, which works very well for our municipality. And I'm afraid everyone's going to have to share a little pain in the short term until we can improve that line. In regards to the deficit, I don't think that's sustainable in the long term, so it's even more important that we try and manage this council finances better. I do have some concerns, especially with things like the Taswater dividend. There's $94,000 gone out of our budget. These are very hard things to deal with, but basically it's out of our hands to some degree. And I would just like to say, if the state government's listening, that basically the councils are being expected to provide a lot of services at a reasonable cost with very little assistance in some of the major infrastructure projects from the state government. And I just can't see how that is sustainable in the long term. But the council, I think, is has done a good job in maintaining that deficit down to the 800,000.
Councillor Andrews,
No, I'll reserve my right to speak for that.
any further discussion? Questions from anybody? Councillor Adams.
Yes, I'll support the proposition. We've got constant, of course, rising service delivery, and those are ongoing, so you've got to work with that. Infrastructure costs, we know that they've gone up enormously. We had to deal with the enterprise agreement, which, you know, is into 4%. Contractors' costs have all increased, costing all our capital works up. Maintenance costs also. And of course, we've just had the war in the Middle East, and of course, fuel is another big bang on everything else. And we've got Tas Water, which takes nearly $1 million away from our dividend that we would have there. So that would have written off the deficit if we'd have got that money. And of course, the angles are all being done to try and get that money away from councils, which is the assets of the ratepayers of each municipality. So yeah, it's difficult times. Don't mind. We've got to work on bringing down the deficit. Councillor Archer is quite right. If we can get some growth and don't waste that growth, but use it for our needs, we can certainly bring down that deficit over the next few years, in my opinion.
Any further discussion? Yes, Councillor Andrews.
I've supported this motion to pass this budget. I've been covering councils as a journalist for about 40 years now or more. One of my jobs as a council reporter was to interrogate budgets and interpret them for the community and say whether they were being given a hard time or not. That was one of the jobs. In all that time, I have not seen many budget reports like this one. This is one of the most detailed and transparent set of information that I've seen. It puts together all the questions and arguments that we had in the 3 workshops working up to this budget meeting to pass this budget. Council officers have gone away. They've heard what we've said at all those fairly feisty workshop sessions and adjusted things. And then they've put together papers that explains what our situation is, why they've come up with the figures that they have for every little thing that you could think of. Every detail of our operating expenses and our revenue, etc., is in here. It's huge. I hope you've all read it before you make a decision. And I believe that what council officers have come up with is a very fair budget for our ratepayers and also plans for our future to keep us in the black. And I think that if we don't pass it, we're being irresponsible.
Councillor Goss.
Yeah, I think I put my hand up, didn't I? I think I did. I'm not going to support the budget as it is because I think, you know, today the CPI rate is 4.24% in Hobart, and I think that we can bring it down a bit more than where it is. But I would like to say that I think probably something like about 4.5 would be a better figure to have. And the other thing is that I'm quite prepared to foreshadow a motion that we go to 4.5%. Increase in the rates instead of 5.1%, which is a 0.6% saving. I talk about that, but I looked at the figures. I went through all the figures in the list, but all I can really see in there in the figures, I can't see any savings. All I saw that every item in our budget papers went up 0.041%. That's what they went up. There was no savings at all through the budget, or nowhere that we were offered that to say that, yes, we don't need quite that money in that particular thing. Everything went up 4.1%. And that really concerned me. I think we should need to get some savings in there. I don't think we should have a deficit. I think we should be cutting back a bit so that we actually have make a positive amount of money that we can actually start investing in our community. So I think we do need to cut our spending back a bit. The spending is a bit that we're not doing, because what we do is just add on those points there. The only thing I would say is that by suggesting that's going to be 4.5%, is that also we're not going to increase the deficit. So like last year, we cut the budget back, I can't remember how much, but instead of keeping the deficit as it was, the deficit just went up another $1 million to pay for the cutbacks that we did. So we've got to stop doing that. We just can't increase that deficit. So what I think we need to do, if we go 4.5%, but the deficit stays at 867,000, and that'll mean, I think it's about $80,000 savings that the council has to find in the budget, and I think they can do that. Especially when I look through that list of documents there and everything's just gone up 0.41%. So I would foreshadow that motion, please, in case this one doesn't get up. So that's 4.5 and no increase in the deficit.
Any further discussion? Councillor Terrett.
I'd looked through this budget and there are a number of things that concern me about it. One of the biggest anchors in this was the approval by the General Manager of an EBA, which is a 4.5 wages and a 0.5 super. That meant it added another $500,000 to our budget straight out. I do not say that we shouldn't be giving our staff an increase, but I also think we have to be mindful of where that money comes from. You know, we just can't continue to increase it. This is a decision that we have no say in it. It's an operational matter, and councillors don't learn about it until this time of the year. In this case, it was 9 months after the agreement was signed. This meant that we now have to find that $500,000 for payments. Employees, when I first came on this council 4 years ago, the number of employees was 68. This year it's actually 101. We've had a general increase. Over that 4 years, we've had accumulated underlying deficits of over $6 million. We've had increases in rubbish collection. I just go to the 140 litre bin from $146 to $242. I view the increasing of rates through the eyes of the person that can least afford it, and that may be a pensioner or somebody who's trying to keep them pay for the rates. So it's being mindful of where we can have savings, and we've got to look at where we can have savings. I think the sentiments of others who have said we need to find some savings is actually what we should be trying to do. On the other side of that, we should also be looking what the community wants. And many people in the community have raised with me a waste disposal voucher, and I will continue to lobby for that. It is not part of this budget. And the need for a community service officer, which we've as well. Despite having an increase in the number of employees by 5, one of our most crucial people for our organisation is a community service officers who will build the community. We need somebody like that to get some of our strategic projects underway. That won't happen until we have that. One of the things that most councils work their budgets on is what the council cost index is. And LGAT has made the council cost index for this year at 3.55. They've rounded it up to 4 due to the war in the Middle East and increasing petrol prices. We've used the 5% Hobart CPI. If you go through the CPI figures, one of the biggest factors is housing that has pushed that up. So if we use national CPIs, it comes back to 4%, similar to what the council cost index is. There is a need for us to kind of look at what savings we can do and look for alternatives of revenue, not just rates, but other areas. And Councillor Goss in the past has raised the need to look at what types of incomes we're getting for certain facilities. We are a service organisation to provide services to the community. but we also have to provide reasonable rate increases for the future. It's never an easy thing to set rates, and we must make it affordable. The option that Councillor Goss has put up was a savings of 80,000. I don't think that's an impossible thing. If we can't find 80,000 in a budget the size of ours, where our wages for this coming year will be $10.6 million, and revenue comes in from other sources. Unfortunately, our financial assistance grants only increased by 4%. So we have to be mindful of that. I won't be supporting this budget because I do believe that there are some savings we can take, and I think that's something we need to look even closer to. I must also raise the need for Evandale Medical Centre, which is now on the supplementary budget. This is a vital service.
30 seconds left.
That's fine. Vital service and should be a part of our budget, not just a supplementary list. And I think we should be looking at reallocating some areas of the cost capital works to this particular project.
Thank you. Councillor McCullough, you had your hand up.
Okay, yeah, I won't be supporting the budget. I think we're miles away from where we should be. I think it should have a 3 in front of it, but I could probably settle for 4. We don't spend our money very well during the year, and then every time we come to budget time, we want to try and push rates to the limit, and then ask the ratepayers to pick up what we haven't done through the year, which I think is not the best way to do things. I think we need to be smarter during the year, and then when it comes to June each year, we give the acting general manager or whoever is the general manager at the time a better job and an easier job. Than having this debate to and fro all the time. We have $660,000 in this year's budget for toilets. I just find that astonishing. I think my facts are right. I think we've got Boucher Park, Napoleon Street, Blackburn Park and Avoca, and I just find that astounding when we're asking the ratepayers to foot a 5+% increase when we're putting 660 grand in there. According to the acting general manager, $140,000 equals 1% in rates. So I don't see any way we could not find $155,000 in rate savings. I think we could do that quite simply. I think we could spruce up the Avoca toilets for another 12 months and then potentially visit that there. I'm a massive sceptic of the MBA, which everybody knows, and everybody pushes back on me, but that's $90,000 that the ratepayers could have in their pockets, as opposed to an organisation which, when I did investigations, hadn't upgraded their website for the best part of 2 years. Per Councillor Terrett, I think that the Evandale Medical Centre is an investment in the community, an investment in the future, an investment in that town over there, and I think that should be brought forward and brought into the budget proper. The arguments around the table earlier this evening around a lease, I think can be overcome quite simplistically. From what I understand, that doctor over there has 2,000 plus clients. So if you think that's not an important part of the community, then I don't know what is. So they're probably the best savings. And we're paying a general manager $5,000 a week for not even being here, which I find absolutely astounding. But anyway, that's my opinion. So I think there's massive savings available. I won't be supporting it. I'll be foreshadowing another motion for 4% as a rate increase for 2026-27.
Anyone else wish to speak who hasn't spoken? Councillor Lambert.
I can't support this budget either for a lot of reasons that have already been discussed, so I won't go over them. I will, however, support Councillor Goss's foreshadowed motion of 4.5. I've always looked at trying to make sure that we have the lowest possible percentage rate for our ratepayers. We have a lot of elderly people in our community, we have a lot of pensioners, we have a lot of people doing it tough, and to add another 5.1, and that's variable, so it depends really on what your property is deemed as, is going to really stretch people. And we need to be very conscious that if we're asking people to stretch their budgets, we need to be tightening ours. We need to be pulling out our purse strings in a bit and living within our means as well as a council. What I can see here, I mean, we're looking at, I think Councillor Goss mentioned 80,000 in savings. I think that is absolutely doable. So we need to show the community that we can still run a strong council, and we can by just taking 80,000 out in various places. So I will always be looking for the smallest possible rate rise because I think our community expects that of us. And you know, there are a lot of people that are going to be coming to council asking, how can I do a payment plan? I can't afford to do this. How can I get my rates paid? There will be those people that will be able to pay their rates, and that's fantastic, and I think they get a small discount for that, and that helps us with our cash flow. I understand that. But in terms of pensioners and Veterans Affairs, Gold Card people and healthcare card people who have a provision in our rating system to be able to get a small discount, I need to make sure that as a council we have that very clearly set out in our guidelines, easily accessible, so if they're not aware that this provision is available, that it is obvious to them that this provision is available, because I think that there will be quite a few people who will be wanting and needing to use that provision. So will that be part of our overall little flyer that we send out with our rates notices, so how people can access that? That would be part of it. Yes, excellent. So yeah, look, at the moment, I absolutely support the 4.5. Foreshadowing, I can't support this one.
Any further discussion? Councillor Brooks?
Yeah, I'm sitting on the fence with it. You know, I'm sure we haven't really gone through and itemised and really picked these figures and brought them down. Like, I've heard a lot of these councillors talking about savings, but if we ever actually sat down and actually gone through some of these itemised things and tried to make some savings, I think the answer would be no. I haven't anyway. So there is a lot of savings there. The figure's been bandied around 80,000. I'm sure that we could probably turn that 80,000 into 160. So, you know, there is some savings there if we really want to find them. And I think by just rubber stamping it, it won't, you know, we won't find them if we don't want to find them. So if we all sit down as a collective group and go through these things, and I'm sure that we'll find the savings there.
That's what the workshops were for.
Yeah.
Councillor Archer, do you wish to sum up?
We never got to speak at the workshops, a lot of the itemised things. That's why.
Do you wish to sum up, Councillor Archer?
Yes, well, this council has had 12 months to study the operations of the previous 3 years that I've been on council. We've had a couple of workshops, we've had a meeting, we've asked the General Manager, Acting General Manager to come up with a budget. At the last workshop, I asked people, what are your savings? Tell the community what they are. Councillor Brooks just said he hasn't done any savings. Councillor Goss mentioned some savings, I'll give him credit at a meeting, some small savings. Other people are not. It's all very well to sit down and say we want an increase of 4.5, but you go and tell the constituents in the community where you're going to cut the funds. Now, I have studied economics, and basically we are in a situation, if we kick the can down the road this year and keep the rates at what some people are expecting, it'll catch up with us next year, because the Taswater dividend, for example, is likely to even get lower. I have looked at the whole economics of this council, and I've decided that at this stage, even with that deficit, the savings we could make, unless you are prepared to tell the General Manager, Acting General Manager, what they are, we're going to go to another meeting when we were meant to have declared our rates, and we are going to look so unprofessional because we've had 12 months to work out a budget. We've had especially 2 months to tell the General Manager what those savings are. And unless she's got something to tell me that they're not included, or we have some savings that I haven't seen, I think this is not a good image for the council to be continually turning these things over when we've had opportunity after opportunity at workshop and between meetings to actually spell out what these savings are. I've mentioned growth is important, and that's the only way I think we're going to move forward, because other than that, I think a lot of these savings are you're dreaming.
Okay, I'm going to put the recommendation. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Councillor Terrett, Councillor McCullough, Councillor Goss, Councillor Lambert and Councillor Brooks, so the motion's lost. So Councillor Goss's foreshadowed motion for, or we can bring it back.
We'll have to bring it back because we haven't got the rate and the dollars calculated.
Who else was against? Sorry.
It'll have to be deferred till July.
McCullough, Goss, Lambert.
And Brooks, sorry. Got Brooks, yeah.
Brooks resolved.
So we will have to bring it back tonight. Do we have to have a motion to that effect, or?
No, well, can't pass it, and we haven't got any other alternatives, so, yeah.
So we'll have to come back to the next meeting.
So that's a month away.
Yes. Unless we have a special meeting.
Yeah, unless we can have a special meeting.
So if a special meeting looks like it's possible, we'll send out dates. Acting General Manager will send out dates for us. Councillor Goss.
I know I said about foreshadowing a motion, but can I move a motion that officers take it back to the meeting?
Foreshadowing has passed.
No, it hasn't passed, no. Because that motion was lost. The foreshadowed one hasn't started yet.
Oh, right, okay.
So Councillor Goss is foreshadowing a motion that we bring it back, say what you wish to say.
Bring it back with the option of 4.5% increase with the deficit staying the same. So officers will look at that.
I've got a seconder for that foreshadowed motion. No seconder, that motion will lapse. Right, we'll just bring it back to the next meeting.
Well, I foreshadowed a motion as well. For 4%.
Right. Councillor McCullough.
Okay, so Councillor Archer has asked me to produce savings. Which
Don't go into you just need a motion at the moment.
Well, I suggest it comes as 4%.
4%.
Will the councillors find the savings?
Right, I have a seconder for that. Councillor Goss is seconding that. Okay, now Councillor McCullough, you can speak to it if you wish.
So Councillor Archer has sat there on several occasions.
Please be respectful.
Yeah.
It didn't sound respectful at all.
Councillor Archer sat there on several occasions and asked councillors to produce savings, which I've done on numerous of occasions. The Evoca toilets, I just find we've got perfectly good toilets out there and we want to spend $250,000.
You can't use them, they had to be closed.
Why are they closed?
Because they couldn't be used.
They are being used, well, they were, I used them, not
Yes,
long ago.
occasionally they're open, but they were closed. For an event, they were closed. Councillor McCullough.
That's capital
That's,
I know, but we can amend things around, you know that as well as I do.
Economics.
Yeah. So and then we've got another $415,000 worth of toilets in there, right? A couple items, but they can be amended accordingly. We've got the NMBA, which I just find astounding how you can sit around this table and spend $90,000 on something that we could give back to the ratepayers. I just find that absolutely mind-blowing. So when you ask for rates reductions and savings, they're there. That's only off the tip of my iceberg. So if we want to go through that budget, I'm sure we could save a lot more money. So I'm not coming to the table not bringing savings to the table. I'm bringing genuine savings where we can push them forward. Sorry?
Potential savings.
Potential savings, whatever. You asked me to bring savings to the table. And there'll be many, many more, as Councillor Goss said, on the other table. So why should we be charging the ratepayers another 1.2% because we haven't done our job properly? Now, you say we've got 12 months of work. I keep going things, you guys vote me down. So that's, in effect...
Excuse me, Excuse me, it's Councillor McCullough's got the floor.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. So we talk about these things during the year, and only at budget time do they come back to resonate. So always you've got to look at every cent during the year to come back to the table at June and make sure we can get the best outcome for the ratepayers. We don't spend our money that wisely, I don't believe. And the real elephant in the room, which I keep raising, is a general manager that we're paying $250,000 to, which is virtually 2% of the rates.
I don't think that's quite appropriate.
2% of the rates. So anyway, so I think we can do, I think we can do
Point of order,
4%.
Point of order.
Like, you're asking about a budget,
Excuse
and that's an
me,
expense.
excuse me.
Point of order.
Point of order comes first. We do not discuss staff salaries at all. Thank you.
But
Move on.
the other point of order is that we're in a judicial system with that matter and it shouldn't be spoken about.
We can do better for the ratepayers, and if you don't choose to
So are
follow
you
4%.
withdrawing?
Sorry?
So are you withdrawing that remark?
Withdraw your comments about the staff
We're paying-
payments.
All right, or withdraw the amount of money, we're paying wages that we can potentially
We
save in
will
the
not,
budget.
and that
Thank
is, will not be mentioned again, please.
Thank you. So what I'm saying is we can actually save the money, we can actually save it. I know you don't want to, but we actually can, and we can actually go through that budget very simply and find $160,000 quite simplistically.
Any further discussion? Councillor Goss?
Yeah, I think that I believe we can find the savings. Last meeting, the meeting before that, I brought up line after line after line after line, which I questioned, and I believe that we could have some savings on that. But we didn't see any savings. All we saw was the line change 0.041%. That's all we saw. There was no analysis of what the money was going on. No, and I believe that we can do that. And
There's a sheet of paper circulated tonight, councillor Box, that shows all the changes that you requested.
Did you hear that, councillor Goss? There's a sheet of paper with all the changes that you requested.
just with all due respect though, I mean, we got it tonight. We've been talked about, this has been going on for 12 months. And we got it tonight when I arrived here at 4:45. I mean, I want to say it with respect, but, you know, we've got 12 months and we have to wait that long. I brought this up at the meeting 2 weeks ago, and here we are today. So I'm not going to discuss those there, but I do believe we've got savings. What I do tell my own children, and I tell my children I teach at school, they talk about how much money they can earn when they become a tradesman and when they become a mine, all that kind of stuff. And I always say to them, the most important thing is it's not so much how much you earn, it's how much you spend. And that's the trouble with what we're doing in council. We're spending too much, and we've got to put in. We shouldn't have a deficit at all. Unless we've got an idea to grow the community, grow it somewhere, and we need to have a deficit for that, but we're not. We're just buying extra bits and pieces here and there and everywhere. It's not doing anything long term. It's just tapping up a couple of holes. And I do think we've got to have a real good look at our deficit, and we shouldn't have any deficit at all, and we should just be spending what we have in that year. If we've got to do something which is fantastic, go and borrow the money, not borrow the money, go and have a deficit and do it. But it's got to be something which is fantastic, which is out there, not just something that is going to buy a bit more icing on a cake somewhere else down the track. Things like toilets and things that we do, the infrastructure stuff, the capital works that we do. The trouble with all the capital works that we do, everything we do, it makes our deficit in the following year go further back because it becomes an operational expense. The depreciation that we get, if we put a new toilet block in worth $1 million, the depreciation on that goes off our operational budget the year after. That's why we've got to be careful on how many things we do because it comes back and bites us in the future. I don't think I need to speak anymore. I hope we can get a really good comeback budget with some savings in the budget, how we can save 80,000, 120,000, 140,000. We need to do some savings. I've been asking for savings for the last 3 meetings and I haven't seen them. And I don't know how long I can sit here for and ask people to get some savings, but they're not finding them for me. It's not my job to sit up here and say, I don't know where all the savings are. I could make some line through some stuff, I could do that, but we need a balance from our people that are in that office area, and we need to get that information back to us. But we can find savings. Thank you.
Acting General Manager would like to say a few words.
Yeah, I've listened to Councillor Goss and all the other councillors, but council's got to be responsible and have a long-term plan, and obviously work themselves out of operating deficit. Now, last year we was in an operating deficit of $1.1 million, budget of $1.1 million. This year we've come in at $800,000, so we have made savings, but our long-term financial plan also says that to try and get back out of the situation we are in deficit, which we've only been in for a couple of years, we need to raise rates above CPI, and our long-term financial plan says that if we raise just even 1% above CPI for the next 4 or 5 years, then we're back on even keel. But there's always things every year that ups and downs, like our Taswater dividends, and next year it'll be something else, and we are creating new assets, and which is a good thing for the community, but we have to fund the depreciation on those and the replacement value of those, and council just needs to be mindful that we need a balanced budget and a good long-term financial plan. We need to stick to it.
Now, do we have any more discussion on the proposed, the motion that's put forward to reduce it to 4%?
I would oppose the motion.
Yep.
I believe that we'll be going backwards. I believe this nonsense. Let me deal with a few issues. This process of for staff and general managers on leave get it raised here in a budget debate, and people want to be leaders of this council. I mean, really, not understanding process.
Be careful what you say.
It shows you how far away some people are from having an understanding of how things should work and how the legal processes are. The Capital Works program is very important for the municipality, and also to keep up with the infrastructure that the ratepayers need and expect, really. Councillor Turret argues that the workforce shouldn't have grown as it has, and then he advocates for another officer that suits his needs. I mean, that's again, is that leadership?
I'm advocating for this council, not my own personal opinion. So point of order on that.
Order, yes. Okay, it's fine. Keep going, Councillor Adams now.
Point of order, Madam Chair. Are you going to pull him into place?
Please continue, Councillor Adams, without
You're ignoring him.
Without mentioning any people's names, please.
The other issue is, we're going to get rid of the business association without replacing it. Doesn't that, so your economic development, that doesn't matter. I mean, again, how do you see leadership, and how do you need you just knock something off and that's all okay? That isn't okay. There has to be, if there's a cause and effect process in all this stuff, and there is a process of working towards getting that deficit down, and that was the original proposition. We're now in a position where we don't have any figures, and we're going to have to work through that, and that'll mean cutting out several things that nobody can actually really put a thing on. We seem to have a whole setting on a set of toilets somewhere, because that's getting at someone that people want to have a go at, for God's sake. I mean, that again is poor. It's not leadership, and it doesn't show any leadership.
Any further discussion? Councillor Archer.
I mentioned in my previous talk about economics and budgets, and it's been mentioned about the NMBA. This has been mentioned during the year, and the Acting General Manager put forward a proposal that an Economic Development Officer and Community Development Officer would have cost the council, I think, about $378,000 each. So basically it comes down to the fact that all these changes which people talk about, and obviously we've got this year which perhaps the Acting General Manager might like to respond to, Councillor Goss. But basically, all these things should not come down to a final meeting where we make these decisions, where we haven't, as a sane group of people, been able to thrash out these issues over the last 2 or 3 months. Now, whatever arguments you've got here tonight, it's all very well just to throw in a figure to the Acting General Manager of 4% or 4.5%. it's not very respectful for the work she's done, I don't think, in the past 6 weeks or so, 7 weeks, in regards to the rating, the costing, the Taswater dividend cut, which was a shock to everybody, and the sustained cut to Taswater dividends. So basically, I'm in a situation where the savings that people talk about should have been handled earlier, as in the MBA, if there was a saving. The huge number of employees we seem to have, which are costing us so much, some people want to have more. And it all comes down to my respect for the staff of this council to be able to present a budget which suits the economics that we're in, but also our community expectations. And if the General Manager can come up with 4 or 4.5%, I just want to make sure that all those savings that she makes spread around the community so that people can see where we are cutting our cloth and how it's affecting them. Because I think ultimately that's the way we will be judged. What services we're giving and what ones we will have to cut out to have that rate of 4 or 4.5%, whatever it is.
Any further discussion? Councillor McCullough, would you just to sum up?
Well, firstly, I rebuke the fact that I'm having a go at anybody. I'm actually here to save the ratepayers of the North Midlands Council some money. So to call my leadership aspirations nonsensical or whatever the words were used is just blunderbuss, if you want to put it that way. In relation to the NMBA, I provided the Acting General Manager with not only a revised amount of money that I could get. I went and spoke to some people about approximately $40,000, but they actually went to this energy of producing a document, which I think I counselled to set to you, Councillor Archer, and all other councillors, showing and demonstrating what they're. They also went back and had a look at the NMBA and the fact that they have not upgraded their website for 2 years. There's 81 businesses on the website that don't exist on the website that are businesses in the Northern Midlands Business.
Can you provide that 81 list?
Yeah, I'll go and find it for you. That's a problem, no problems. I also had a look today, and we don't get any breakdown of the NMBA, what they provide us and what we actually get in return. All we do is give them $90,000 a year, which used to be $200,000 a year before I came on council. Also, from what I understand in 2024, they had $150,000 sitting in the bank. So to me, why we're spending $90,000 on that is just ludicrous when we could give Councillor Gosh's motion 1%, there's 1% saved and above 1%. So it's not fair to sit here and suggest that I don't come armed or sit here. At the workshop last time we had a workshop, we weren't allowed to say anything. We were told this is the budget, blah, blah, blah. And every time we raised it up, Councillor Archer.
Excuse me, Councillor McCullough, everybody gets a turn to speak at workshops as well.
Councillor Goss, no. Councillor Goss sat there and went through everything line by line, tried to get savings, and it was basically, as he said, 4.1% all down the line. So to me, with all due respect to the council officers, yes, they've done a good job, but they need to do a better job. That's what we get paid for. That's why we're sitting around the table. We're sitting here to represent the ratepayers of the Northern Midlands Council, not ourselves, not the staff here, the ratepayers. And when we actually get that in our heads, we actually might be able to get our head around 4%.
Just remember that a lot of the staff are ratepayers. Okay, any further discussion from people who haven't spoken? All right, you've summed up. I will put that recommendation. All those in favour? Yes, Ms Britnell.
Can I just be clear on that? So it's 4% increase. Is that retaining the deficit at the current level, or?
Well, we could probably save a little bit more money. I reckon we could probably get down a little bit and can cut the deficit down myself. But that's only my opinion.
And the argument is whether we're 4% and the deficit, the present deficit figure that we have.
Well, we saved until 300 last year.
The deficit may well have to go up.
Can be done.
All right, we'll be bringing it back to another meeting. That needs to be a part of the motion. We'll bring it back to the next meeting.
Do we vote on that motion
I think,
now?
yes, we're going to now.
So what
Hang on, I need to see what the motion is.
Oh, so it's Councillor McCullum, Councillor Goss.
And Councillor Goss seconded.
Yes. But council, Ms.
Ms Britnell will read what she's got and we'll make it into a...
That the budget be revised for an increase of 4.0%.
Councillor McCullough provide his own motion.
General rate. Oh, I'm just helping her. 4% of the general rate increase.
What it needs to be.
So that the budget be revised to a 4% general rate increase.
And be considered at the next meeting.
Be considered
Further considered at the next council meeting.
at the next council meeting.
Is there any way of showing it on the screen?
Would that be a special council meeting? Do we
We
need
don't know yet.
Well,
There's
just
some clarification on the language being used in the motion.
Just get up here first.
I'll write it in here.
Yeah, just write it in there and then you can adjust it later.
So it's councillor McCullough and councillor Goss.
And then, do I just delete all that, or
No, that's fine.
hang on,
Just put in there what I said, that council.
yeah, just,
Just do it in the blue, like, just make it, can you make a line?
I'll just put it
Yeah, under there.
like
Under there, yeah.
Recommendation.
at the budget
So a few people.
be revised
Into that.
to a,
To reflect a
to
4.0% general rate increase.
4.0% rate increase. That was it. And be considered, and to be considered, and to
Considered at the next
be
ordinary
considered.
council. Or to be considered at the next council meeting.
The next council meeting, because we'll need to decide what to do.
It just depends on the timing, whether we can get it before then.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to put that recommendation that the budget be revised to reflect a 4% rate increase and to be, that it will be considered at the next council meeting. All those in favour? Against? Against is councillor Adam, myself, councillor Adams, councillor Archer and councillor Andrews. So that's passed. Yep. Councillor Adams. Councillor Archer. So, and all the rest are for, so the motion's passed. So thank you to those online. That's the end of the open council meeting.